Hi, it's Anna Marie from PullOverAndLetMeOut.com. Today I give the camera to my son Connor and we visit a Buddhist temple in Raleigh, North Carolina. Check it out.
And today we're actually visiting a North Carolina Buddhist Association, the Van Han Pagoda. I probably messed up that name, but here we are at the front of it, at least like the main temple piece. And we'll go up there and take a look around. So here's the front out here. These beautiful, beautiful plants and everything out here. You got these dragons, and this architecture is a very, kind of iconic architecture for Vietnamese and kind of stuff like that. So right here we have one incense burner of a few. And then right here we have like a main Buddhist shrine. The Buddhists in the family, so I'm going to give a lot of information as to what everything means. There's some basic things here, some fruit, candles. Actually, no, that might be.
Can you explain
some wax.
that necklace?
So the necklace kind of looking thing, and I know there's a swastika up there, but that's something that's been used by Buddhists, Hindus, and Jains since they were created, pretty much. I'm not sure the actual symbolism of the necklace. I think it's just kind of to ornament, as an ornament to the symbol on the chest, the swastika. But it's just a symbol of peace. And I believe, judging that there's nothing in the hands of this Buddha, that it is the historical Buddha, Gautam Buddha, or Shakyamuni Buddha. As you can see, someone's offered incense recently. I might do that towards the end of everything.
And what about the fruit?
So the fruit is a food offering. It's just kind of, the tradition that the monks and ascetics would take is they would refuse to take money as a form of renunciation. And so they would only receive what people would give them. If someone was to even give them something as simple as rice water, they would take it with immense gratitude. And it kind of taught this humility that, it kind of helped to teach them humility and helped them to accept renunciation. And we'll go over a lot of the renunciation stuff in a bit. Finishing walking down those stairs.
Don't put me in that, I'll be at it.
So here we are at the back of the main temple area, and we'll show the front inside here. We're just going to step up these steps to kind of give you a shot inside. What you're going to see is a prominent Buddhist bodhisattva, which is, you can look that up if you want to. Chundi, as well as in the back, a ascetic. I'm not sure exactly who that is in prominent Buddhist terms. There's another shrine in there with some seating and stuff for someone who's working here, a monk or something. And we'll continue back down here and head over towards the garden kind of area. So we'll get back to you. Actually, yeah, we can just keep on recording, probably. We'll cut and then come back. And once again, we are back. So, this is the birth of the Buddha. At least that's a part of the story of his life that we are at right here. So, all around you'll see the prominent figures. You see his father, who was a king. And I believe back there, holding her hand up, is his mother, who's a queen. She sadly passed away shortly after his birth. Of course, right here is the young Buddha. And if you count, there are 7 lotus flowers. That's when he was born. It was believed that he walked 7 steps. And on those 7 places that he stepped, lotus flowers bloomed. And he held his hand up to the sky and proclaimed, "This is the last time I will be reincarnated. This is my last incarnation." And so that's kind of the story of this. There's the sage that told his father the story of how he was going to be a great spiritual leader, whilst his father wanted him to be a great emperor. And his father would later pretty much imprison him in the castle and not allow him to see any of the sufferings of the world, which would prove to put him on the path to where he would eventually lead. Okay, walk through. So here is the renunciation of, at the current point in time, young Siddhartha Gautama. And he's cutting his hair as a symbol of renunciation, and this is where he gave up his life as a prince and his life as royalty to become an ascetic. And that's, I believe, his charioteer, Chana, who had to watch his young prince start on this life that he was going to undergo towards enlightenment, where he would become the Buddha. So this is where he is renouncing his royal life in favor of that of a hermit, of an ascetic, which is kind of like a monk. So here we see the most common known incarnation of the Buddha, as known as the Laughing Buddha. But to most Buddhists, we know him as Maitreya Bodhisattva, or Bodhisattva Maitreya. Pardon my pronunciations on everything. But he's believed that he is going to be the next incarnation of Shakyamuni Buddha, or Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. So it was believed that after 5,000 years after the Buddha's death, he will be reincarnated again to bring back the teachings of Buddhism as Maitreya Bodhisattva. This depiction, though, is also in the mythology as being it was either Chinese or Japanese monk known as Budai, and he's a symbol of happiness and contentness, hence his big laughing self. So this is the next part of the Buddha's story after his enlightenment, and it was his first sermon, his first teaching, and he taught it to 5 ascetics who had accompanied him, and at one point left him behind because he broke, I guess, the code of the ascetics, if you want to call it that, and he took food. It is believed that you don't want to eat food and such for a long period of time, but he broke that because he realized, how are you supposed to concentrate in meditation if your body was yearning for nutrients and sustenance? And he taught them this, and he taught his teachings of what he had learned, and it's kind of like the posture. He's giving them refuge. I believe this is the posture his hands are sitting, is to give them refuge. And there's a particular mantra, which is Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami, which means I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dhamma, and I take refuge in the Sangha. And that's kind of what he's giving here. He's giving them refuge. And these are the first 5 monks. And this is where Buddhism truly started. And this is the Buddha's, ending story, or end part of the Buddha's story. This is where he attained parinirvana, which is I'm trying to think. He referred to it as like the ultimate salvation, something along those lines. Nirvana, essentially. And he had attained enlightenment and was free from cyclic existence. And so on his last day, he laid prostrate on a kind of hammock, which is more of a bed, if anything, and laid on his right side with his right hand supporting his head. And he gave his last teaching to his hundreds of monks and nuns. And afterwards, shortly after his life finished, he went into what they'd refer as a deep concentration and meditation, where he would, soon after his life would fade from him, and he was put into a funeral pyre, and his body set alight, where his ashes would be distributed amongst kings to build stupas, which are large towering things. It's not so sure on those. I haven't finished a lot of research.
How old was
He was around 80 years old when he passed away. But in these depictions, of course, he looks quite young. He was always very radiant figure due to the enlightenment, that his aura was bright. And so this is where he eventually died. Not really in the story of the Buddha. You can probably hear some chants going on. I'm not exactly 100% on what they're chanting, as it's not really clear. It's kind of shrine area on top of the lotus flower there, growing in this brown water. You come up and see a shrine to the Buddha. I guess this kind of does tie into the Buddha's story of he passed away, and eventually in the future people would build shrines to him to kind of commemorate him. So large candles, some sutra chants, I'm assuming it's sutras, going on, some offerings of food and incense. So that's what this is. So here we have one of the most prominent figures in Buddhism. Is a bodhisattva known as Kuan Yin, which is believed to be an incarnation of the bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. Again, pardon the pronunciations. And he is the bodhisattva of compassion, and that is kind of why he is so prominent. Buddhism has a very big teaching of compassion, and there's of course someone who represents that wonderful teaching. So that's about as much information I know on the topic of Avalokitesvara. Shakyamuni Buddha. We're going to show you a shot on the inside of this temple kind of place. And you can see in there you have the Buddha, some bodhisattvas on either side of him. A lot of Buddhas. And of course you have the main Buddha, which is sitting under a tree that is supposed to represent where he attained enlightenment.
And that's our visit to the Buddhist Temple in Raleigh, North Carolina. Special thanks to cameraman Connor for the great insights and narration. For more travel fun, visit PullOverAndLetMeOut.com.